Hi, everybody. My name is Ruth Sternberg, and I am a career navigation coach. I help job seekers define and explain their value to employers so that they can get interviews and get an offer. I'm bringing to you some interviews with career professionals, with coaches, with other job seekers to help you with your job search with actionable advice that can give you confidence. And today I'm with Courtney Kirschbaum. Hi, Courtney. Thank you for
Hi,
being
Ruth.
here.
Oh, you're welcome. It's great to be here.
Courtney's a career strategist. She has 20 years of experience in corporate settings and offers really good advice for you as you're moving through those circles. And Courtney, just tell us a little bit about some of the things that you have available if people are looking for you.
I think you can find most of what I do on my website, CourtneyKirschbaum.com. But the big kind of event that I have every year is Job Hunt School, which is kind of a soup to nuts program for job seekers. And it also covers career strategy. So maybe you don't want to change jobs, but you want to develop some strategy. So you're going somewhere in your career and you're not just working. And then when you do need to make a change, it comes as a shock. I also have a program that focuses on LinkedIn, which is especially big now because everybody's indoors and everybody's doing their networking online. It's called LinkedIn Boost. And I kind of added that because so many people kind of have their billboard on LinkedIn, but they don't necessarily know how to use it in a way that works for them.
God, that is so true.
Yeah.
So many people don't have a complete profile. They just kind of put their job title and no banner, and it's just, there's so many things you can do with it. Use it.
There's so many things you can do with it.
Yeah.
It's not hard, but if you think about how LinkedIn emerged, it just kind of was this thing. Are you on LinkedIn? Oh, go to
Right.
LinkedIn. And then I'm like, well, what do I do here? Well, let me see what my boss did. I'll go copy what they did. And, most people never got in a kind of a lesson, a primer in LinkedIn. So it really is a powerful tool. And that's why I decided to do that program because I was banging my head against the wall. I'm like, you're so great. And you're not showing that here on LinkedIn and you could like really kill it out there. So that's
True.
a fun project. Yeah.
Yep. Now, but today, see, we could come back and do another one of these and talk about that.
I would love to.
Today, I want to talk about something that's been coming up a lot.
Okay.
People that I talk to, they're in a career and they feel like they're just not moving to the place they want to be.
Right.
And I feel like a resume is great and everything, but I don't think that's what you're talking about here. I think what you're talking about is how to position yourself, how to understand what the rules of engagement are.
Yeah.
And then, of course, also, if you want to move to another large company, how to understand how to navigate those rules so that you can actually get in there to talk to somebody, right?
Yep.
Because there's a culture here to understand. And so I just wanted, Courtney, what are your insights about that? What is important to understand about a corporate environment if that's your bag?
I think the first thing you need to understand is they hire people to solve problems. Now, everyone does, but these are very profit-driven, image-conscious companies for the most part. If you're going to work in a corporation, they're very big on their own culture. So the first thing that if I was going to angle for a corporate job, I would think about which culture am I going to fit into? Where am I going to be a success culturally? Because there's a huge difference between the culture of, say, a company, and this company is now defunct, but it's a great example because it had such an intense culture, and that's Enron. So the kind of person that can really go in a hard charger and go into Enron and be great is probably not the person who's going to like thrive at Ben and Jerry's, right?
Or right? The other way around.
Or yeah, the other way around. So, not casting aspersions, but decide, who am I and where am I going to fit in? And I think what most people do is they're like, oh God, here's an opening. How do I need to be to make these people love me? When you're
I always say to people, I'm like, look, this isn't that child's game where they have the different holes, the triangles and the squares and stuff, and you're just like, oh, where's my square and my triangle? No, that's not what you're doing here. Go on, continue.
If you're starting and you're like, I don't know what to do, you're in overwhelm, which so many people are, just write down 4 or 5 values that matter to you. Who am I? What matters to me? And don't be judgy. Like if you want to make a packet of money and, live the high life, then okay, that's just who you are. It's your priority. If you want to save the planet or whatever, write down your values, and then and then you have some basis, right? You have some basis for searching for companies that you're interested in. And I'm sure you've said this 10 million times. I've said it at least that many. Don't rely on the want ads, right? Because that's just what's available at this tiny little slice in time. And I call it the dark market. There's so many jobs that aren't posted because it takes a lot of effort to, do all that. So if you see a company that you're interested in and you're like, this is the company that has the culture that I'd really like to work there. Find somebody who works there and start a dialogue. Go to LinkedIn and go to the company page and see what are they posting and interact with them. And also you will learn about their culture, because what they're going to do on that company LinkedIn page is they're going to be like, this is us. They're not going to be like you and pretend to be like, I'll be whoever you want me to be. You just
exactly.
They are going to say, this is who we are. And the reason they're going to do that is because the reason people leave, the reason you have a bad hire, you spend all this time and all this money hiring someone, and the most common reason a person leaves in the first year is they're not a fit with the culture. So the person interviewing you is not going to say, well, we just want to make sure you're a good fit with our culture. But that is absolutely one of their top priorities, because it is expensive to go through that process, and it's expensive to lose somebody after you do. So the first thing I would say is, don't try to cram yourself into be like this Stepford candidate. Be yourself and find out, get in touch with those values, write a few down. And when you're looking at companies, then don't compromise, because you're just going to find yourself in a position where you are reduced, and nobody shows up for an interview and bats it out of the park when they feel that way. So I think that would be my first thing, is be aware of how important culture is, and don't be afraid to seek it out.
And I'm going to add that a lot of people, when they start working, they think that they pick a thing they want to be. It's the thing their parents thought they should do. You're so good at math. You should become an accountant. Okay, right? They see some friends doing it, so they do it, or whatever. Or they think of the money. This is the lucrative thing. I'm going to go into it, and they forget like who they are. Who you are matters. What passions you have, what talents and skills you have. Those things matter. I hate to break this to you people, but you get to be happy.
Yeah, for sure.
You're allowed to be happy. Okay, so you understand where you're coming from, and now what?
So once you kind of have a sense of, let that drive your choices. So rather than go to the want ads, go to Wikipedia, or just go to the internet and search on, company values, and put in, companies, get a list of companies. If you're a nonprofit, a list of associations, because most people, I think, get into a state of overwhelm. So the first thing you should do is just go out and find what it is that interests you. So everybody, a lot of people have a hero company, so you've got that one, but just get a list. Maybe if you're in a city, if you're in Columbus, Ohio, then get a list of companies. If you want to work for a Fortune 500 company, get a list of ones with offices in Columbus. Go on LinkedIn, find out, who is there. So the first thing, you can do two things. You can start connecting with people in those companies. And all you need to say is, see that you work at thus and such. I've always thought that was an interesting company, or whatever. Would like to connect. Wouldn't you connect with somebody who kind of made that association, made that connection?
That's why I'm like, if someone reached out to you, would you just go, I'm not going to talk to that person?
Don't be a seventh grader at your first high school dance.
Right.
It's okay. You can ask them to dance. If they say no, you'll survive. It's just a LinkedIn message. And it is worth to get that access. If you're hardcore job hunting or hardcore business, get their premium and at least try it out. They make it easy to get out of, and you get more options to message people you aren't already connected to. So do that. And realize that a lot of people aren't on LinkedIn. And you feel like you're taking a shot in the dark. Go to a profile and see if they have engaged recently. If you go to a profile and you scan down the page, most people show their activity, and you can see if the last time they commented on anything was 1974. And if it is, you can be like, okay, probably not going to be able to have a big dialogue with this person. A great place to go is to the company page. So get in there, go and talk with people and say, I'm interested in this kind of work. I do this kind of work. What's it like there? Just start a dialogue. You can go straight, if you're more direct, go straight to a recruiter, go straight to a hiring manager and say, hey, this is the kind of work I do. Don't know if you have a need for that right now, but here's my resume. If you do, if it's a fit, if you feel like talking, hit me up. I think fear of rejection and fear of pestering and all of that is what keeps so many really good job seekers from just doing what they would do in any other common sense situation. You're not bothering them. Just go for it. Just get in there and say, here's my resume. It's okay to do that. And when you go through this kind of courting or this mating dance, it comes off as insincere and it's a big time waste. When people, connect with me, I really appreciate the note, but they don't have to give me a note. If someone connects with me and I don't think they're a fake account, I'll almost always, I'll almost always accept it. People are busy. If someone does take the time to do it, I'm appreciative, but I just feel like everybody is so hypersensitive. These cultures are fast moving and they're business driven. So rather than worry about kind of like what's the protocol and not angering someone, get in there, know what you want, and do business. And approach.
What are you trying to find out?
Event.
Right.
Yeah.
So what are you trying to find out? Like if you connect with someone in a company, what is it you're actually trying to find out?
Ask, what do I want from this person, and be really honest about it.
Yeah.
If you are hardcore job hunting, if you just lost your job, you want to be positive. What you don't want to do is show up with your begging bowl. I see these openers sometimes on LinkedIn and I just cringe for these people. It's like, I've been job hunting for 6 months. It's like the worst opener in the world. So don't do anything like that. Just be very direct. If somebody's a recruiter, they are milling through hundreds of people, resumes, daily. Certainly seeing, that many, hundreds probably in a week. So be direct. Who, what, when, where, why, how. I am an engineer looking for a job in Dayton. I specialize in this. I've worked 10 years at big four firms or such and such firms. If I'm a fit for anything you've got going on, I'd love to talk. And if not, please keep my resume in your files. They will scan that then and there and drop it in their files, because that's how the business works. And when you waste their time with, I was born in a holler and got my first pair of shoes in the 6th grade. It's like, why are you torturing me with that story? I mean, tell me this later. Let's do business here, because I got, my job is getting people placed.
Right.
Treat it as a business transaction. That's the short version. Treat it as a business transaction and don't get caught up.
When you're talking to somebody
Go ahead.
Who isn't a recruiter, who's just an employee, maybe somebody who's lateral to you in the position you have now or used to have, but you just want to find out inside information about what it's like to work there. What is it you want to find out about what it's like to work there?
Absolutely. I would say, do some vetting, be discriminating. Say, how long have you worked there? Do you like it? Do you feel like it's a good company? People will pour their hearts out. Like when people that are close to me will call me or message me and ask about that. I had a cousin. My cousin called me. She said, or messaged me and said, I'm thinking about applying for this job. Can you tell me what you think? So my feedback on the company was actually not super positive. So I said, I'll tell you on the phone. So bear in mind that people might not want to commit that to a message, but again, that communicates something. So ask them, what's it like to work there? Don't jump into, do you know anybody who can hire me necessarily? Just start a dialogue so they can get to know you. And you will just be amazed at the information that pours out. And don't worry about rejection. Don't be shy. If somebody doesn't respond, find somebody else. Usually for, big companies, even medium-sized companies, there are a lot of people. Also ask people who worked at the company before, because if someone's working there now, they might be like, yeah, I'm just going to keep a lid on this. So find somebody who worked there before. It'll come up in a LinkedIn search and say, I see that you worked at such and such. Thinking about taking a job there, thinking about applying there. Can you give me some insight? And people will just pour their hearts out in the most helpful way. often.
Telling you,
And the
I've
first
seen people, I've
go to
seen
the next
people's,
one.
I've seen people's resume, and we are over. I think our sound is a little bit like behind. That's why it could be frustrating watching this
Okay.
for some of you. But I mean, I've seen it where, somebody will have a conversation and they're just trying to get information, and then the person will be so intrigued or want to be helpful that they'll go, you know what? I know the hiring manager. Why don't you just send me your resume and I'll just take it over? I mean, that's what you want. That's what
Exactly.
you want. You don't want to dump it into a
Exactly.
tracking system and play the lottery. So it's really worth
And
it. It's worth taking the time to do this stuff.
it is. And I think most people are, what I hear is, oh, I'm afraid of getting out of process and ruining my chances by not
Yeah.
doing what they tell me. And it's like, do you want to work there? I mean, if that's, now I had one client I worked with, she's great. And she had incredible, experience. And I said, if you're going to apply for the job, that's fine. Of course, go through it. Then immediately, if you can get the information, whoever, the hiring manager or the actual, the VP or whoever's in charge of this, send them an email and say, I've applied for this position, but I wanted to reach out to you directly. I've included my resume. You know, he called her. This woman did it. She goes, I so didn't want to do it. I worked in HR. I was cringing the whole time, but I did it. And he emailed me the next day. Yeah.
Here's a news flash, people. HR doesn't make decisions about the positions that will be offered and how much money you will get for that position. It's the hiring managers or the people in their department or the higher ups who decide what jobs are we offering, what are the salaries. HR is helping, with the process, but they're not decision makers. And if you need to get in front of the decision maker.
Yeah.
That's it, plain and simple.
That intimidates a lot of people. And I think that's really where I come from. That's where I come from on this. It's like, you're a business person. Don't let your boss manage your career. Don't let your company or your boss set the pace of your career. Just because you're not getting promoted, well, it means they don't have a slot. That's not where the company's going. That's not, the timing isn't right. It doesn't mean you don't have the capacity. You don't have the ability. So you've got to be a free agent. You've got to have a free agent mindset, and you've got to have that strategy. And that's what you talk about, what does it take to do well in a corporate environment? That's what gleans respect. They will use you, and that's slightly pejorative, I realize, to achieve their goals all day long, because they're in business and they're not self-conscious or ashamed of it. They're in business to make a profit and get to work. And as soon as you adopt that attitude, and you can do that politely and cordially, but business is business. And I think it saves a lot of time, I know it does, when candidates approach it like it's a business transaction, not like, oh, I don't want to insult them. It really does kind of stymie the whole process. So keep that in mind. I think that's what's respected and valued. They want professionalism. You do have to, I'm not saying strip away all the niceties, but understand that at the end of the day, it's business, and you need to adopt that attitude of researching and questioning and being discriminating and deciding, is this where I want to invest my time? And that leads me to this next it's a little idiosyncrasy, or kind of one of my pet peeves, I think is the best way to put it. They're not giving you a job. You work for somebody, they're not giving you a job. That terminology, kind of colors how people feel about work. You are exchanging your time and your talent and your skills and the money that you've invested getting educated and growing your skill set and, getting experience and all of it. You are exchanging that. You are making a business deal. They're not bestowing they're not knighting you, right? This is business. And I think that's where a lot of job seekers are like, oh, please, like me, it's like, don't go down that route. Play a little bit of hardball. It's okay to do that, because at the end of the day, as I said, business is business. And if you take that approach, I think you'll be more comfortable, and it'll be a speedier process, and it doesn't have to be all fraught with feelings and why did they reject me and I'm no good. It wasn't a fit. Next.
Exactly. It's like, you're not always going to buy a product from somebody or a service. It's not because you don't like them. It's just that thing wasn't a fit, right? You may talk to me about doing some coaching, and it might not be a fit, but Courtney might be a fit for you,
Yep.
right? So, okay, that's fine. Perfectly
Much easier.
fine. And she
Much,
might
much
be.
easier.
So one more question I wanted to ask you is, if
Okay.
you're already in a job
Mm-hmm.
at a pretty big place, right? And you feel like you're just stuck. You know you want to move to a better position in that same company. What's your best advice for how to get yourself in a good place to do that?
The first thing I would say is be honest with yourself. Be really honest, because if you go into your review and maybe you didn't get moved up, and they'll say something like this, like the most innocuous, meaningless statement in the world, like, well, you did a really great job this year, but we need you to step up. What does that even mean? So first of all, it's just a statement that says, well, you're not promoting you and we're not telling you why. Good luck with that. So stay or go. You're not giving us what we want, or we don't value you, or we don't value any of our employees, which is sometimes is the case, or we're getting what we want out of this deal, and what you want we're not willing to give you. Whatever, those are the facts. Accept it. Don't take it personally. The first thing I would do, if you really want to stay, if you're really invested, if you're this is an option, say, great, tell me how I am doing on a scale of 1 to 10 in terms of getting this thing that you want. Let's assume it's a promotion. So you go to your boss and say, boss, on a scale of 1 to 10, how close am I to getting promoted to director? And that takes them out of we just need you to step up that realm, which is useless and doesn't get anybody anywhere. It's another year of your life wasted doing, work at a level you don't want to be working at. That makes them pinpoint it. They have to score you on a scale of 1 to 10. So you get an 80. Okay, that's a B. Okay, I got a B. I've got a B performance. What would I have to do to make it a 10 and get promoted? And that puts the onus where it belongs, which is, I need you to give me clear expectations and walking orders. And if they can't do that, then you're just not getting the truth in this person. They are unwilling to tell it. They can't tell it. Some people just can't do the conflict thing. They just can't do the communication thing, whatever. Accept it. And take responsibility for your own career and your results. Don't blame your boss. Don't blame your company. I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying, ask yourself, am I taking 100% responsibility for what's going on here? And if you don't like the deal you're getting, leave. And if you can't do that, if that's where your stomach gets in knots and you feel that tightness in your chest, or however it shows up for you, get help. Because you can make more money, but you cannot make more time. And as the clock ticks over and you've been told no, and you believe that you deserve that next thing, what's going to happen is you're going to start to doubt yourself. And while that's happening, well, maybe they're right. Maybe I don't deserve to be this next thing, this thing that I want. Maybe they're right not to give it to me. So that self-doubt is corrosive. It is the most corrosive thing in the world for your career. And because you've kind of been put down a bit, you've been told no, rightly or wrongly, and you don't believe that, so there's that conflict, they're going to lose respect for you. And this goes for being underpaid too. If you know that you are and you're told no, then you've got to make a decision. And if you decide to stay, you risk having them lose respect for you. And that's certainly not going to put you in a better position to move
This is
forward.
true.
It's, it's so easy. People who can't, who aren't getting jobs, they love to blame the market. They love to blame recruiters. But my big thing, and this definitely isn't for everybody, your results are 100% your responsibility. And if you're not getting the results you want where you are, then move on.
Thank
And
you.
yeah. Yeah. So, and here's the thing, what I want to say to people is you can do it. I see a lot of the confidence isn't there, because really your job is not the place necessarily where your boss or your coworker is going to build your confidence up. That's where, that's why some people get coaches, because they need somebody with an objective perspective to give them that information.
Yeah, your spouse isn't necessarily the right person for that.
Or your neighbor, or your,
Right.
whatever. Make an investment in yourself and get the help you need to get the results you want. And if you think you're the only one who's doing that, you are so wrong. Because when somebody, purchases a program or hires a coach or does any of that, they don't post it on Facebook necessarily, right? Everybody wants to give the impression that I did this on my own. My greatness, 100% achieved by me. But that includes learning what you don't know, getting your confidence bolstered if it's not in the place it needs to be, acknowledging those things, and not buying into this, well, if I didn't get the promotion or they're not paying me what I should get paid, there must be something wrong with me. I don't buy it, and neither should
No,
you.
I don't either. And I'm going to say, we could go on and on about this.
We could.
But Courtney knows a lot about this, and I'm going to put her contact information with this video so you can contact her and get an even deeper conversation going about this before she starts writing her book, which I'm sure is coming, right?
Sooner or later, for sure.
But anyway, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is fun. I'm going to put some notes with this video to recap what's the content is here for you guys, so you can go back through and listen again. But just remember, your career's in your hands, and you need to just get a grip. And if you need to take some time and absorb some emotional impact that you're having from being laid off, you should do that first. Get yourself in a good place.
Absolutely.
And then attack it strategically. That's why you can do it. I know you can. I've seen it.
You can do it. Yeah. You can do it. I'd like to leave everyone with this one thought. There are people out there that are no smarter and no harder working than you, getting the jobs that they want, enjoying the career that they want, getting the salary that they want, and you can too.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank
Everybody
you.
Have a great day, and just keep putting one foot in front of the other.
Amen. You will.